We are back and we are here. And it is live and I hit record. You won't even believe how many times I've forgotten to hit record, but we'll just leave that where it's at. So I just wanted to welcome our next guest. So as you all should know by now, I'm on this journey to interview 32 fans, and finding a Vikings fan was not the easiest. However, thanks to this lovely man who responded to my random DM, who was like, sure, let's do this. I'm super excited to have this conversation because I feel like the Vikings are usually a team in the NFL that like people don't talk about a lot until they talk about them. And so I'm very curious just to hear what you all have going on, what it's like to be a fan, and just to know a little bit more about you all this year, because you had some interesting draft picks that I feel like people are still kind of talking about. So I'd just love to, I would love to know more. So if you'll introduce yourself, how long you've been a fan, and then we'll just like talk.
Cool. It sounds good. And again, thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this. And I just started a YouTube channel not long ago. It's called Vikerr Podcast. I think I'm around 75 subscribers. So I've been going since February, late February. And I'm in Virginia. I'm a Virginia Vikings fan. It's not common. It's not a common path, I guess, to be a Minnesota fan, but I've been a fan since 2009. I got started when Brett Favre got there. That's kind of how I got started.
Oh, wow. How was that how was like it at the time, Brett Favre going from Green Bay to Minnesota?
Yeah, as a kid, I was always a fan of him. Always just kind of liked his energy. I mean, I was a kid. I didn't know the Green Bay, Minnesota divisional rival thing, but
yeah.
As a kid, I really liked Favre. I had a poster of him on my wall.
Okay.
He won that Super Bowl in 96, 97. And, everyone at school was like, Brett Favre. And I just joined the train and I stuck with him. And I never really had an NFL team, though. I never really truly had an NFL team growing up. I was more just doing what kids do, and growing up and kind of becoming a football fan, but mainly just sticking to college football.
Right.
I really, again, didn't have an NFL team. And, Favre left Green Bay. He was going to retire. He decided not to retire. He goes to the Jets. I kind of kept up with him a little bit, but it's the Jets. They're terrible. And then when he went to Minnesota in that 2009 offseason, I just got wrapped into all the hype, all the drama. NFL Network was playing this thing out like a movie. It was Favre watch. I remember like a helicopter cam of him getting off the airplane at an airport in Minnesota. And I'm like, I just got wrapped all in it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull for the Vikings. I love this. I love that he's going to get back at Green Bay 2 times a year. And then it was just such a really, really good season. And I just became a big fan, and I've been here ever since. I've just been locked in.
Was that the year they lost to the Saints in overtime in the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, yeah.
So I feel like that experience changed the rules in overtime the first time that was the first time I had ever seen something that actually happened on the field be a change that I remembered, because I remember like people were pissed because like he didn't get the ball or something. I think that was it, because it was like the Saints went down and scored immediately, or kicked a field goal. I don't remember all the details.
No, well, so we got the ball first.
Okay.
And we were driving.
Okay.
And gosh, if you ever get the chance, go back and look up on YouTube, Paul Allen, 2009 NFC Championship game, and he goes berserk on what Favre did. Favre could have ran. He could have ran 20, 30, 40 yards and then just kind of got out of bounds. He throws it across his body. Just terrible throw. It gets picked off. They return it back to field goal range, and they win the game eventually. And it was a way to kick off my first full season as a fan, because it was like all the high and all the emotions of everything good. The week before in the divisional round, we had just beat the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't care,
nobody likes them.
No, nobody likes Dallas. And that was, I mean, Dallas was pissed because we kind of ran the score up a little bit. And so I was, you had all that, and you just talk all this trash leading to the next
Yeah.
weekend, and then that happens, and terrible.
Nothing
Yeah,
humbles you like a football fan. Well, really a sports fan.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like we all have our highs and then we all experience very similar lows. Some lows are lower than other teams, but we
You
all
come
experience.
down, you come down real quick as a Minnesota fan. That high don't last long at all. No.
So speaking of being that, how was free agency in Minnesota? Obviously, for me, what I heard about most was obviously Kirk Cousins leaving.
Yeah.
I feel like here recently there's been things about why Kirk Cousins left and all that, like it whatever. What else happened in free agency that was like cool, fun, or you were shocked, or that you were just excited it happened?
Yeah. Kirk leaving it was a shock, but it wasn't. I
Okay.
kind of felt like he was gonna stay. I thought Kirk was gonna. I thought he saw the writing on the wall. Like, hey, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna do this 1 to 2 year deal thing. As long as I get my guaranteed money, it's just it's everything he got, every contract he had, every extension he had here was fully guaranteed. And I felt like as long as Minnesota offered him a 1 or 2 year deal, fully guaranteed, he would stay, become that bridge quarterback to the eventual guy that we pick. And he didn't want to do that. That was
Yeah.
kind of a shock, but also kind of I wasn't surprised. The losing Danielle Hunter, losing
Mm.
a cornerstone on your defense, a true Viking, a guy that's been here forever,
I was
hurt.
gonna say, yeah, where did he end up?
Houston,
Freaking
Houston,
Houston
yeah,
Texans, boy.
Houston Texans. They're stacking up. They're going to be loaded this year, I think, and we play the Texans this year, so that's something to look forward to.
Okay.
Um, but losing him, even losing a guy like DJ Wanham, who recorded 8-9 sacks last year as well on the other side, just kind of meeting at the quarterback with Daniil all last season. Him leaving in free agency, going to Carolina, losing two good pieces like that, but then
Yeah.
replacing them with a guy like Jonathan Grenard from Houston, Andrew Van Ginkel from Miami, who looks like a Dolphin, or looks like a Viking, just long blonde hair
He
flying in the
does.
wind. I'm so excited about him. Getting a guy like Blake Cashman replacing Jordan Hicks in the linebacker room. Jordan Hicks was a good piece, just getting a little older on the back end of his career.
Jordan Hicks, I think he's a
Yes.
Longhorn. I think he's a former
He
Longhorn.
did. I think he
He
did play in
did. He
Texas.
did.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did play in
Okay.
Texas. Yep.
Okay.
He sure did. Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
great player, great guy,
Yeah.
just kind of on the back end of his career. And
Yeah.
it was time to kind of make a change there. And but I think, to get down to who I'm most excited about, it's got to be Aaron Jones.
Mm,
He's pissed
fair.
off at Green Bay. They let him walk. They wouldn't pay him. He gets Green Bay 2 times a year. This is
Yeah.
kind of his Brett Favre type revenge tour. So I'm really excited about that. And hoping, we got a guy named Ty Chandler in the backfield. He's only been in the league for a year or so.
Okay.
He's got a lot of promise. He showed a lot last year in limited touches. Him playing behind Aaron Jones really excites me because, I'm thinking for the future. I'm always thinking about the future,
As you should.
So the present's good, but Aaron Jones could be someone who can really, for Ty Chandler to kind of sponge off him. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. I will always cheer for Aaron Jones unless he plays my Steelers, mainly because he did what he needed to do in the playoffs against the Cowboys.
That's
And
right. Yeah,
anybody
he
that
did.
does what they're supposed to do, I'm a
Yeah.
fan. Like,
He
sign
went
me up.
off. He went off in the
He did.
postseason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm like, I don't care what you do normally, but when it's time, it's time. Like, step up, do your
Yeah.
job, be better than you think you can be, and make us
Exactly
all
right.
happy.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
that's awesome. There was a lot of inter-division things that happened this offseason, I felt like, because we got Queen, the Ravens let go of him, the Steelers got him, you guys got Aaron Jones.
Yep.
And then there was somebody else that from another division that did something similar. And I'm sure there's many others where it's like
Yeah.
they were close and now it's like they play their old team. So I'm sure the NFL will hype that up as much as they possibly
Oh
can.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So how about the draft? How do you feel like you all did in the draft? I know the big thing everybody wants to talk about is wondering like if JJ McCarthy was the right move. what were people surprised? So how did you feel like as a fan when that pick happened? Were you like, okay, I expected that? Or were you like,
Yeah. I I knew we were gonna go after him. I knew we were gonna get
okay,
him. That's who I wanted all along.
okay,
I didn't want Drake May. I didn't
okay,
want Jaden Daniels.
okay.
People called me crazy. People in the Vikings community, our fan base, they called me crazy. They're like, how can you not want Jaden Daniels? How can you not want Drake May? Obviously Caleb Williams was never going to come to us, but if there was
Right.
this weird situation where the Bears didn't take him, I'm like, no, I want JJ McCarthy because he's won everywhere he's gone. So
Okay.
all 3 seasons in college, he was in the college football playoff. 2 semifinals, 2 years in a row, then finally the big game, and he won the national championship. High school champion 2 years in a row, national champion in high school with IMG. I like to tell people, when Kirk was here, he was Kirk O'Chains. Well, JJ is JJ Rings to me because the
Yeah.
dude just has nothing but rings, and he's just missing one more. But I loved it. I was excited.
Okay.
I had my wife record me and my sons as the pick was being made.
Nice.
Yeah, my dad was here. He doesn't care about the draft whatsoever, but he was pumped because he's a Vikings fan as well. He was pumped,
Okay.
and he came over. We had a good time. When they moved up from 11 to 10 to get
You
the trade
knew.
with the Jets, it was just like, oh, okay, finally. And I remember, it was like there was a family that did the pick. They had lost a family member in combat or something like that, and they're going to have the kid read the pick. And I just remember going, I don't care what's on that paper. That kid better read McCarthy. I don't care. I don't care if it says Dallas Turner, whoever it says. He just better say McCarthy. He just go rogue and make it happen. But luckily it all worked out. So I'm excited for him.
Okay.
I've said till I'm blue in the face that he was the most NFL ready prospect in the draft as far as quarterback's concerned. Yeah, I'm excited. I love the pick. But there was many more I love too. Yeah, more
Yeah.
than just him. So, but yeah, I'm excited.
So can I just say, one of the things I love about being a fan, really a human, is that we can all see the same thing and we
Yeah,
all see it. We're like, some people love it, some people hate it. There's so much right now happening because so many quarterbacks went early. And I feel like every franchise that got an early drafted quarterback is now in
yeah,
this interesting conundrum because you're like, obviously CJ Stroud was CJ Stroud last year. So who would everybody wants the next CJ Stroud? Like we
yep,
would be idiots to say we didn't. So
yep,
it's cool to see how different people are enjoying their quarterback, confused about it, didn't like it at first, but now they're excited or they wanted that guy. Like so it's just interesting to see like how many people feel differently about their quarterback. I guess it's in comparison to like where their organization is too.
yeah,
So
yep.
that's super helpful. So tell me about some other picks that you were excited about.
Obviously, the Dallas Turner pick, and we had the two
He was
first
the
round
second
picks.
first. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So Dallas Turner, I had no idea we were going to have a chance to get him sitting at 23 with the second first pick or first round pick. Didn't think he was going to fall to us. They had to move up and get him. There's a video of Kevin O'Connell, our head coach in the war room, when our GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah turns to him and says, "We're getting Dallas. We're getting him. We're getting Turner."
Mm.
And O'Connell's just like, "What?" And that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I couldn't believe it. As much as excited I was about that, I want to go fifth round.
Ooh,
Kyrie Jackson.
I love a good fifth rounder.
Kyrie Jackson out of
Okay.
Oregon. He went to Alabama. He actually left football for a while, worked at a grocery store, decided to go
Kudos to him.
transfer to Oregon. Yep. Decided to transfer to Oregon, make it work again. 6'4", just physical dude, ran a 4.5 40. And he's going to be a really good asset to our cornerback room because our secondary is a little suspect, I will admit. So he's a physical guy. He plays the ball really well. That's the one I'm probably, obviously the quarterback and obviously the star edge rusher in Dallas Turner, but that's one that really got me excited was getting that guy.
That's awesome. I love when young people go to, well, when I say young people, younger than me,
Yeah. Yeah, me
decide
too.
like,
Yeah.
football is fun, but like maybe it's not for me. I need a break. And then they get back into it. I feel like that transition of a human is a smart And B, it's like you're here because you want to be here now, not because you're good. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a huge difference, because I feel like so many times we see players that are like super talented, but they just don't love it. And so you can kind of tell because they don't show up. And you know what I mean? It's just like a different feeling. But when they leave and
Exactly.
come back, sign me up for those guys. Like,
Yeah.
sign me up for that
Yeah.
guy.
Exactly right. Yep.
That's awesome. And then, so one of the things you mentioned at the beginning was you felt like on defense you lost some guys. Do you think that, did you lose them because of salary cap, or did you lose them because it was just time to kind of let them go? I forgot to ask, and I was just curious on how Minnesota is. Like, are you under salary cap? Are you, how is that going? Because as of this recording, just so I know, I didn't say this before, the schedule is not out.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it is not June, it is not past June 1st. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to like make that declaration so people understand
Yeah.
where we're at with the calendar as of today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was
Okay,
salary cap, but also I think it was kind of time to move on. I
got it.
think the front office with Kirk and Daniil Hunter, I know Kirk's not defense, but just kind of with those two cornerstone pieces, I think they were like, hey, we'd love to have you back, but it's going to work for us. It's not going to work for you
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay.
I think Daniil, again, losing him sucked. It did, but the guy wanted a bag. He hadn't really had one since he'd been here. He hadn't had a big contract. And I think they're like, hey, look, this is what we have. This is what we feel like we can do.
Yeah.
And he went elsewhere. And so
Okay.
I think it was more, like I said, it was just both. I think it was like,
Yeah.
we'd love to have you back, but it's got to work for us. But I think the pieces that I mentioned before that they did bring in, I think they're going to suit well. I think it's hard to replace Neil Hunter.
Yeah.
But I think the pieces they brought in, I think they're going to be okay. They're a little more cap friendly, younger, but going to get production out of them.
I love the NFL.
I do too. Oh my
I love
gosh, I
the
could.
business. I
Yeah,
could, I always say, like, if somebody was like, what would you like to do just for a day if you could do anything that's like whatever? And I was like, I want to go be with an NFL GM and
yeah,
look at their team like on a whiteboard, because I think as fans we often look at them as players and pieces. And I think it's bigger than that. I just think there's so much that goes into this. And I don't think, like, nobody can, like, TJ Watt, great, woo. But like, okay, who is he on a whiteboard? What does he mean for our business? And so, anyways, I'm so fascinated by how some of these decisions are made, and knowing all the people and plugging and playing. And yeah, anyways, so that's neither here or there, but it's
yeah.
just
No, I
fascinating.
agree. I love it. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. So tell me some of your concerns for the season. So like when you think about next season, what is something that concerns you, or even maybe something that you're excited to see as we head into, this to me, I just for context, I think this is one of the most intriguing parts of the NFL. Maybe not the funnest, because the funnest are games, because it's off season and a lot of people like don't care about the off season, but this is where your team is structured, built. You kind of figure out who's working, who's not. You kind of get to measure up people as they're like doing all these like rookie mini camps and OTA, like all these things are starting to happen. So is there anything that you're looking forward to seeing, or is there anything that's like concerning you that you're kind of like, please figure this out some way, somehow that I'm not understanding right now?
Yeah. It's definitely the run game. I
Okay.
mentioned picking up Aaron Jones. I really hope that helps the run game, because the run game was very non-existent this past season. All props to Alexander Madison. He was a really good backup running back for a few years to Dalvin Cook. We let Dalvin Cook go in the offseason before. They kind of stick to Madison, feel like he can be promoted, he can be a number one back, and he wasn't. And
Mm,
it just shouldering all the load. Just he downgraded almost. So 0 touchdowns on the ground for Madison last year. I believe
really?
Todd. Yes, yep. I think around 700 plus rushing yards and 0 touchdowns.
Yikes.
And I think two rushing touchdowns or 3 rushing touchdowns total rushing with Todd Chandler. We had a couple with Josh Dobbs when he came in,
Oh man, I remember that. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I love that. That was fun. That
It
was
was
just
fun.
fun.
It was
Our
very
season was
fun.
over, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ride with it. Like, we
It
shouldn't
was
be winning
very,
these games because we need
yeah.
to think about the draft. But man, Josh Dobbs is freaking cool.
Yeah.
So, and my kid, my youngest son, he's 10, Grayson. big fan as well. Both my sons are, obviously, but he wanted a Josh Dobbs jersey for Christmas so bad. I was like, dude, he's not going to be here next year. And he's like, I don't care. I want him. So I got it for him. And like the week I bought it, he got benched. I mean, it was already wrapped under the tree. And because we put our tree up early, that's my wife's deal. She loves the Christmas tree. She loves Christmas from November 1st all the way to January. But
Fair.
that thing was wrapped under the tree right there by the little train that goes around it. And I was like, dude, like, well, you're getting it. And he loves it. He still wears it. But
that's awesome.
yeah, the rushing game, the run game,
Okay.
it was very non-existent. I'm hoping with Aaron Jones coming in, that's gonna change a big time. Kevin O'Connell likes to pass, he likes to air raid, and that's cool. But you got to have a run game too. You got to play complementary football. So,
especially I feel like in the NFC North, like I feel like the run game is usually the thing, right? Because like I feel like every division's different, but it's like you kind of know what you're gonna get out of like your quarterback. You kind of know, but like, can we run the ball?
yeah,
I always say run the
exactly.
ball, stop the run. So here we are. Well, that's cool. The Josh Dobbs thing last year was quite the thing. I remember when he was at the Cardinals, they didn't have his jersey or whatever. And
Yep.
then as soon as they got his jersey, he leaves anyway. I'm just like, this guy, like, bless his heart. And then all he did was what did he do? Like win like 2 or 3 games. I don't know. It just felt good I was like, this is just good. This is good.
I remember the NFL Twitter had Taylor Swift as their backer, like their pitcher, and
okay.
then Dobbs replaced her. And I was like, you know what? Finally, it took Josh Dobbs to get here for us to get that respect, but finally the Minnesota Vikings are on the mat, baby. And it was to Josh Dobbs. God bless him.
That's so funny. And no other planet does Josh Dobbs replace Taylor Swift, but in football. It
exactly.
just makes sense.
Yes. Yep.
Well, for all the people that were so mad at Taylor Swift, like they were probably huge Josh Dobbs.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. So like I said before, schedule's not out yet. But we know who's home, who's away. How are you feeling about this schedule? What matchups are you excited to see? I'm assuming divisional rivals are a thing. Okay. So I've kind of learned that I'm cheating a little bit here. Since I've been recording this, I've realized that every division has this weird thing where it's like, this team can't beat this team, but this team always beats this team. And there's like this weird thing that happens. Do you all have the same thing in your division where it's like the Vikings can't beat Chicago, but Chicago can always beat so-and-so? Like, do you all have that in your division as well?
Yeah, Chicago is owned by Green Bay, no matter if it's Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Jordan Love. If it was me out there playing for them, Chicago is owned by Green Bay.
Okay.
And Green Bay absolutely owns us. The last game that we play them in the season, it always ends up in Lambeau. It's always, negative 1,000 degrees there when we play them, and we just cannot get out of our own way. The Lions, they've kind of been owned by everybody, but I'll give them their props. They had a really good season last year, and they're scary good. But I think we all just kind of gang up on the Bears. If it's one thing we can agree on, it's that we hate the Bears.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's how it works. Listen, at this point, I love the Bears because they gave us Justin Fields. And I mean gave us Justin Fields. So we will gladly accept. Thank you, Chicago. Well, that's cool. So who are you, when you look at the schedule, as a Vikings fan, what do you think? How do you feel? Who are you like, okay, we're playing that team? Okay. Like who are you just like really not paying attention to, but who are you aware of that you play next year?
Oof, the schedule, it's NFL. It's going to be tough every week. It's your goal is to go 1-0 every week. So it's if you watch college football, you got Alabama, you got your powerhouses. Well, it's Alabama every single Sunday, basically. So it's going to be it's going to be a tough schedule. Depending on how it's laid out, depending on what dates and everything. there's some good football teams in there. San Francisco 49ers, we had them last year at home, and we beat them, shocked them.
Okay.
We were the only team in the NFC to beat them in the regular season last year.
Okay.
And they're coming right back to the bank. They're coming right back to us again. And they're probably pissed. And, I'm sure it's going to light a fire under them. We go up to New Jersey to play the Giants. The last time we were in the playoffs 2 seasons ago, they stunned us in the wild card round at home.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sure they're not going to forget that. There's some things there that, even the Lions, like I said, I just mentioned that they were good. So there's some games there that, they're going to be tough. They're going to be, you're going to circle. You're going to kind of hold your breath.
Yeah.
Because we don't even know who's going to be quarterback still yet, right?
Who's the other guy?
We that's a perfect description. Now so we have Sam Darnold. We just picked up Sam Darnold in free agency. And Nick Mullins is still in the quarterback room. Nick Mullins is probably your great value Brett Favre.
Okay.
He's going to throw a lot of yards, but he's also going to throw a lot of interceptions. And Jaron Hall, 26-year-old, 1-year player out of BYU. He's still in the quarterback room. So, it's Detroit. They're so good. They're coming around. They're going to be tough. It's a tough schedule, but I think depending on who's the quarterback week 1 or throughout the season, if they decide to stick with Darnold, if they decide to turn over to McCarthy, it's not going to be an easy season. It's not going to be. I don't think we're going to go out there and shock the world, but I think we can be competitive. I think we can play good football. I think on paper we have a very good football team. It's just all the stars have to align, and just got to go out there and play.
I always say you got to get a few bounces, you got to get a few calls, or a few times where the ref didn't, swallows his whistle and or swallows his flag, didn't see it.
Yeah. Like the entire time we played the Chiefs last year, But
insert anyone who played the Chiefs last year because that was brutal.
I've said for the last few years now that they are the new Patriots because the New England Patriots would get all the calls back when Brady was there, and now it's Mahomes and it's the Chiefs, and I feel like they get a little love sometimes, a little too much love, but they're a good team. They've earned it, but it's frustrating.
It makes it hard because you're right. Like they are good, and you can't take away the fact that they're good. You can't take away the fact that Patrick Mahomes is good. No one will ever take that away. So why help?
Right.
Like why? Like just let the game be what the game is going to be. But you know what? I mean, as an adult, it's like when you watch wrestling. You're like, I already know that you all have talked about this. I already know that you've, whatever you've talked about. I know that, but I still watch, and I don't watch wrestling as much as I used to. But like, I don't know. It's frustrating but at the same time, my business hat, being a businesswoman, yes, yes, like protect your brand, protect your team, protect your moneymaker, do what you have to do. But it's just frustrating because you're like, why are we doing this? It's so obvious. Yeah. So, yeah. I remember, do you remember? I don't know if you remember this, but I feel like one year, like the Patriots offensive line had like one holding penalty, like all year. And I
do remember that. Yeah.
Are we serious? Like,
yeah.
Really? One?
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I hear you.
Yeah.
And I've already told the Chiefs fan, like, sorry, but listen, your team's at the top right now. You're getting all the crap. So just deal with it.
Like we all hate you, dude. All right. We all hate you.
We all do. We're all cheering against you. So whatever. Keep winning games to keep us quiet,
Yeah, that's right.
So what would you like us to know about your Vikings? We talked a little bit before we started, and I was like, I don't hear a lot, maybe because it's regionally, maybe because it's like, I feel like the NFL only talks about certain things they feel like it would be a cool story or something that like people would gravitate towards. So I don't hear a lot. Obviously, you guys have the best start in the NFL and getting the the horn. It's not a horn. What is it called? The little thing going and the clapping and all of that. The vibe is perfect.
The skull chant. Yep.
This goal. So you guys win that.
Yeah.
What else? What else would you like us to know about the Vikings?
I think just tune into this season. I think we're gonna tell a really good story week by week. We have a really good, I think, really good rookie prospect that a lot of people are hating on from what he did in college, where he didn't throw the ball a lot, but he's won in everything he's done. Every uniform he's put on, he's won in it. But apparently he didn't throw the ball enough for people to give him respect. And then you have, on the other hand, you have a guy in Sam Darnold who was a former number 3 overall pick and didn't really get the chance to shine with the Jets because it wasn't a good organization. Then he kind of just gets shipped off to Carolina to another terrible organization and gets a few glimpses, a few chances to shine in San Francisco when they were when they were blowing out the Eagles. He got to come in. They were getting blown out by the Ravens on Christmas night. He got to come in. He almost kind of orchestrated a comeback against the Ravens that night. A guy getting a second chance with a really good offense around him, weapons, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson when he gets back. Some guy named Justin Jefferson, I believe, too, right?
Did you guys sign him yet? Has he gotten his deal?
We haven't got the extension done yet, but I think it's coming. It's coming up soon. But, I think it's going to be a good story this year, whether we start with a kid, who's got to prove everybody wrong already, or a guy who, I think rightfully deserves a second chance, third chance, however you want to look at it, and play with a team that's actually good for once. It's going to be a good story to tell week by week, and I hope it's a good. So I hope it's got a good ending. So it's going to be a good season. There's a lot to look forward to.
I love that. And so you mentioned at the beginning of this, you just started your YouTube channel. So tell us about your YouTube channel. Tell us what we can expect from you. If you are listening to this and you're a football fan, I suggest going to subscribe. If you're a Vikings fan, hit subscribe and turn the notification on. I would love to know, is this your brainchild? What are you thinking about, your YouTube channel and how you want to move forward?
It's a funny story how I got started. Again, being here in Virginia, there's really nobody to really talk to about the Vikings other than my sons and my dad. But my wife will sometimes ask me, "Hey, what are y'all doing? Or what's going on? Or what do y'all, what do y'all got going here?" And then I'll start telling her, and I get real passionate. And she's like, "All right, look, I was just trying to talk. I really don't care." And so she would always do that, and I would just get really hyped up. And it was kind of leading into the free agency. Because that's kind of when I got started, the last week of February of this year, right before free agency started. That's when I got started. And I was just, I'm just walking around the house going, what are we going to do here? We're going to sign Kirk. We're going to bring Kirk back. Is he leaving? What are we doing? We got Danielle Hunter. We got the Justin Jefferson extension looming. What are we doing? She's like, what you should do? You should start a podcast. And then you can leave me alone and you can just talk to all your little Vikings buddies, And I was like, ain't nobody going to listen to me. And she's like, oh, I'm sure they would. I'm just do it. So I did. And it's been very cost effective as much as I can. I bought a mic. I already had a headset. I already had a computer. I already had most of the things. And back behind me, I have this little, I think it's a cool setup. But before that, it was the dining room table and looking into the foyer hallway. My 5-year-old daughter's little arts and crafts hanging on the wall that she does at school. And then I finally kind of upgraded a little bit in here. But it's right now for the most part, it's usually every Thursday, it's once a week. Usually when I can get on, I try to get on much as I can. I got a busy life. We're all busy, but I got a busy life working third shift and coaching football in spring and then coaching football in the fall and just all the things and also being a full-time dad.
Yeah, you're doing the best. And husband. Don't forget.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. She'll watch this when it comes out and I will record this part only and show her on loop when you said that. So I thank you. Yes. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I try to get on when I can, but like you mentioned, hit subscribe, follow, turn the notifications on. You'll know exactly when the old Vikerr is on. And, subscribe to me. I'm at 75 subscribers right now. I'd love to get to 100. But just to know that there's 75 people out there
That's
that are
it.
watching, that are listening was a big thing for me. I just hit 500 followers on Twitter. That was a
Oh, okay.
huge thing for me.
That's awesome.
And I didn't, like I said, when I got this thing going, I was like, ain't nobody gonna listen to me. Nobody
Yeah.
cares,
That's what I
and
think about. That's what I thought about me too. I'm like, nobody cares about my opinion, but I care about my opinion, so I'm just gonna
yeah,
say it.
I'm just gonna say it. I got a really good support system, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like, all right, is this cringe? Like, I'm 35 years old. Is this gonna come off weird that I'm doing this? Like, how are my peers? How are
No,
my family gonna, like, think about this? And it's just been really accepting. Everybody's been really cool about it. I got a really good friendships with a couple of guys right behind me. Dash Industrial Repair. My friend Justin Dash. He supports me. That's his
nice.
local business. Well, I say local. It's local to Erie, Pennsylvania. He's not even in
Yeah.
Virginia, but
Shout
he
out
support.
Pennsylvania.
Shout out PA. Yeah, Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's right. I forgot you're Pittsburgh. Yeah. So yeah, shout out PA. But I got a good support system, and a lot of friends have told me that they enjoy listening. They don't care about the Vikings. They don't even care about football. My sister, who doesn't even watch football, she listens to me.
I
She's
love
been a big
that.
supporter. She's kind of going. She's battling cancer right now, throat cancer. So she's been kind of going through radiation. So she says listening to this, and she's always asked me when I'm on. It kind of helps her get through the treatments. And
That's all that matters.
yep. So she's been a big
You know,
support. So it's been
good for
fun.
you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for
Thank you.
you. And
Thank you.
yeah, and like I'm proud of you for just starting. I'm proud of you for even like everybody, I feel like we all have the doubts. I think the doubts come easy. But it's the fact that you were like, screw that, and you did it. And then
Yeah.
people love it. People need it. I think something somebody told me years ago, and I never understood why they said it. They were like, just do it because somebody needs it. And I never really understood like that at all. The older I get, though, I realize is we're all living different lives, and like sometimes hearing somebody else that's just passionate and loves something and is like just into it, you want to hear it, because for me, hearing somebody be passionate about something is amazing. There's nothing but like hearing people be passionate, watching people get excited, watching them be happy. I don't think there's anything better than that. And so when you can get that and somebody, I'm sure the people that love you are like, this is cool. Like
Yeah.
they're learning you through your passion of the Vikings. Like that's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. When you
So
put it that way, it all makes sense. And
yeah,
my sons, they enjoy watching it. My oldest son is in high school. He's a freshman in
that's
high
awesome.
school, and he's I didn't think he'd ever really tell anybody at school, because I thought he'd be like, I'm not telling anybody my dad's on YouTube. That's weird. But he plays football as well, and he's always sharing with his teammates and with his classmates. And my youngest son, Grayson, he's always watching it. Like, I
That's
think that's
awesome.
where I get most of my views is from him, to be honest. Little insider secret, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
We did an episode with him, because he was always asking me, I want to be on, and
Nice.
I'm like, what are you going to talk about? And he's like, well, I'm going to talk about free agency. And so we get
Okay.
on, and he just kind of like, we just went into it. I'm just going to hit record. We'll just see where it goes. And he just starts spitting off facts. And
Oh, I love that.
I'm like, you've been watching the Vikerr podcast, haven't you?
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, keep going, because at the end of the day, I always tell people, like, if you enjoy it, not just like YouTube, but like just in life, if you enjoy it, keep doing it. Who cares what
Yeah.
everybody else thinks? You're not harming anybody. You're having a good time. And you know what? You're being able to like get out your thoughts,
Yeah.
which I think is something that if we all are willing to admit, it's nice to be able to like get out your thoughts and to talk. We don't do it enough, I feel like, to people. And so it's nice just to watch, you do this. So I'm a fan. And like I said at the beginning of this, I appreciate you for reaching back out to me, because you didn't have to. I was like this random face on Twitter that's like, hey, I have this idea. So I just appreciate you being like, all right, let's do this. Like, we'll see what this is all about. So kudos to you for just like being willing to talk about the Vikings. So I appreciate you just being willing and being supportive, because we don't do it enough. We just don't do it enough. We are not supportive of people enough. So I appreciate you for that.
Oh, I appreciate you reaching out. I was genuinely surprised, and I was reached out before about doing something kind of representing my team against other teams, and I looked into it and I was like, that just seems kind of toxic. It's just kind of a
It
spitting
can be toxic.
contest. Everyone's going back and forth. I was like, I don't think that's my thing. But when you reached out and was like, hey, I want to know about your team and I want to know about
Yeah.
you. And I was like, I
Yeah.
really like that setup. That sounds like a really good idea. And I was
Yeah.
honored. I really was. I was shocked that someone found me. And again, it goes back to saying, no one's going to hear me. No one's going to listen to what I have to say. No one's going to care. And then here you are, just like you said, random.
Yeah.
Find
Very
me out there on the World Wide Web and on the old www and reach out to me and have me on here on something that I can't wait for you to finish. I'm going to be excited for this to come out and to
yeah.
know that I'm going to be a part of this with 31 other people. That's huge. And so
Yeah.
I thank you. I appreciate you for reaching out and for finding me.
You're very welcome. So we'll end this, and like I said, who knows? Maybe we'll do something in the future.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch. I making connections and being connected to people is probably one of my greatest joys in a way. You know, like obviously I have friends and family and all that, but I think that random people that you can connect to about your love of something is different because at any moment you're like, this was stupid. Did so and so see this? Let me talk to them about it. You know what I mean? And it's like some people, especially sports fans, nobody gets it like us. Nobody understands it like us. Nobody is triggered by it like us. And so it's like
Yep.
no one else will understand like how frustrating it is for me that my team didn't go for it on 4th and 4 when we couldn't stop a nosebleed in the first place. Like it's just certain things, you know, you just have to talk to a fan about. So
Yep.
thank you for coming on. And when it releases, you know, I hope that people see on your channel how excited you are about doing this and how passionate you are about doing this. And I hope that people subscribe because they should. They should listen to what you have to say about the Vikings because I'm going to tell you, it's one of those organizations that when it's good, everybody knows it's good. And when it's
Yeah.
bad, we don't really know it's bad. We just don't hear about it. And so that's like a unique situation to be in because when my Steelers are bad, everybody knows that we're not
Yep.
doing so hot.
Yep.
So.
Same
But,
thing here. Yep.
yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. And like I said, I'm sure we'll be in contact soon.
Yeah. Sounds great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.